And welcome to another Cardinals Nest here on HBC TV 25. This is the show devoted to St. Mary's University and its athletic programs. I'm Dean Beckman. Our co-host once again is Donnie Netto. And swimming and diving is our main focus this week. And we have Amber Lowe with us, the head coach for swimming and diving. And Donnie, this is our post-Thanksgiving show, so I think you and I just want to point out, we had great Thanksgivings, but we want to point out that it's the camera adding 5 pounds, right?
I had to chuckle when you introduced Amber because she laughed when you said her name because I think she expected you to say Amber Bartholomew because this is all new to Amber Lowe now, even though she's been here for 3 years. This is her first year as Amber Lowe. Congratulations on the wedding this summer. And is it nice to have all of that behind you now?
Yeah, it was a crazy busy summer. August was really crazy with all of our freshmen moving in, but glad that that's behind us and we can move on.
And how many times have you put Bartholomew on something that should say Lowe now?
Too many times to count.
Well, I know when you said we were going to have Amber Lowe on the show, I looked at you like a deer in headlights, like, who is that? But it has now become clear you are our head women and men's swimming and diving coach at St. Mary's. So Amber, this is really your third time on the show. You're in your third year as head coach. And so how have things settled in here over the last 3 years? Do you feel like you've got the program sort of in the direction you want it to now?
Yeah, year 3 has been leaps and bounds easier than year 2. It's a little bit different because we have a lot of freshmen. So we still have a lot of new members of the team, but yeah, definitely year 3 has been much easier than year 2.
And you mentioned a lot of freshmen. I mean, when you say a lot, you really mean a lot. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of new names, a lot of new hometowns for me to learn. But how has that progression gone now? You're almost into the Christmas break, and so, you know, I guess half the season is just about over. How has that progression for these younger athletes gone? Yeah,
you know, I knew coming in we had some really good talent coming in as freshmen, but I wasn't sure how the dynamics would work with our upperclassmen. We don't have very many upperclassmen, so I wasn't sure how that would work with so many underclassmen. But our upperclassmen have done a really nice job in leading our freshmen, and they've kind of found their spot now. So they're moving right along. We're right at mid-season, and I kind of forget that they're freshmen sometimes because they feel pretty comfortable in the program we have.
You know, mid-season, it just sounds odd to me because your season started, as far as the first event goes, on October 21st, and of course you started practicing before that. So you're about 5 events in right now. Kind of recap those for us and tell us how they have or haven't met your expectations.
Yeah. We started out the year with kind of a double duel with Gustavus and Iowa Lakes Community College. And Gustavus has an enormous program, so they actually sent half of us, half of their program, and the other half went to a Hamlin meet. But that was kind of a little test for us to see where we're at, and we performed really well against Gustavus that first meet. So it was kind of fun to see some of our freshmen step up, kind of see some of our upperclassmen, see where they're at compared to last year. And then we went to Hamlin. And again, that was kind of a good spot for us to see where we were at. As a women's team, we beat a couple teams. As a men's team, we beat one team. So it's a good gauge of where we're at in terms of the MIAC championships, because there's a lot of these teams we don't see again until the MIAC championships. So again, this weekend will be another test for us to see where we're at.
Let's talk a little bit about this weekend, because this is a new one for you in that you're going to the Rochester Invitational hosted by St. Cloud State. A lot of Division II programs will be there. Several of the MIAC meet. And kind of a little bit like the MIAC will be. Is that important for this group, because they're so young, to kind of get a feel for what it's going to be like in about a month and a half when they go to the MIAC championships?
Yeah, it's really, really crucial for our team, especially with all of our underclassmen who have never been to a meet of this magnitude before. Some of them have swum in high school state, but it still doesn't even compare. It's a grueling 3-day meet. So this is a really good chance for them to kind of get a taste of what it's like at this 3-day meet. Prelims, finals, just like the MIAC championships. It's nice, though, that this year, we usually go to the University of Minnesota, but what's nice this year is we get to come home. So we're competing in Rochester, we're coming home, they're sleeping in their own beds. So I think that's going to be important for our success this weekend.
You know, for those who, sorry, but for those who don't understand, when you say prelims finals, can you just kind of explain that? Because, you know, a lot of times you're thinking you go to a meet on, you know, you go to the Hamlin Duel or you go to a Hamlin Invitational, boom, it's done, you just have finals. Can you kind of explain the whole concept of?
Yep, so they'll swim their event in the morning, and if they qualify top 24, they'll swim that same event in the evening. There might be 100 and some athletes in each event, and only the top 24 get to swim it again in finals, which is the same way that our MIAC Championships is set up, only 16 instead of 24, but it's the same format, so that'll be really nice for them to get used to.
You know, with all of the freshmen on the team this year, what's it like for you, knowing that you recruited the freshmen that are now in at St. Mary's, seeing them compete at the college level and either meeting or exceeding your expectations of them? What's that like, and what sort of feelings does that bring about?
Yeah, you know, it's a good feeling. You recruit these kids out of high school, they're 17 years old, and you hope that they'll come in and be not only great athletes for you, but good people. And seeing our freshmen really do that, they're performing in the pool, but they're also fantastic student athletes. Our grades at midterms, our freshmen were awesome grades, they're good people. So it's really nice to see that not only are they performing to high expectations, but they're also doing it in the classroom, they're doing it outside, you know, in the community.
Now, a little bit later on in the program, we're going to have one of your freshmen right here on the program. Brooke Shefchick is coming in. So tell us about Brooke. What have you seen from her in the early going here?
Yeah, Brooke, she surprised us right away in practice. You know, Allie Mayer is our distance coach, and we saw some things in practice from Brooke going, holy cow, she's really going to be, you know, a good one for us. In the first meet, again, she surprised us again, had a fantastic meet, close to best time in the 500, which we weren't expecting at that time of the season. And since then, she's just continued to improve upon her times. So we're really happy with her performance this year. And again, Brooke is a great student. She's a biology major here at St. Mary's, and she's a great student. She's an awesome teammate, so we're really proud to have her with us.
You know, I find one of the interesting things with your sport and you as the coach is that you were a former athlete. Do you find that to be helpful in terms of how you can communicate with these people and have them understand that, hey, you know what, I've been through this. I know what it's like to do the grueling workouts that you put together. Does that help being able to kind of relate to what they're going through? Because
I have been through it all. It doesn't, because my experience was very different from theirs. So sometimes they kind of, well, coach, you know, they know that my experience was very different from theirs. So sometimes yes, sometimes no. It kind of just depends on the situation. But I was a student athlete, so I think that helps me sometimes relate to them and what they're going through.
So with the women's team, what are some realistic yet challenging expectations?
Full of records fall. We're excited for that, and then looking forward to the MIAC Championships. We're hoping to make a jump in about 3 places this year. So we're hoping for about 8th, 7th, or 8th place at the MIAC Championships.
And now let's look at the men's team. Tell us what you've seen so far from them and some expectations going forward.
Yeah, you know, our men's team is extremely small in numbers, but we've got some really talented guys, some freshmen, Mokler, leading us in the water. But you know, in terms of team point, to take down some records this weekend and have a good showing at MIAC as well.
You know, one of the challenges for you has to be about the Thanksgiving break. In a sport like yours, where it's training based, how do you get around that 5-day break they had over Thanksgiving? Well, after this weekend, they basically got about a month, quote unquote, not competing. How do you as a coach make sure that that training gets in, and that when they go to the Luther Sprints in early January, they're ready to go?
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I kind of just have to trust that they're adults, and if they want to have a great season, they have to be in the water over break, and they know that. So if they don't do the job over break, then it makes it really tough for Allie and JJ and I as coaches to kind of finish the job that we've started. So they know that what they have to do over break, and it's kind of up to them to make sure that they do it.
All right, Amber, thanks for being on the show. Amber Lowe, I really had to train my brain to say that last part, but thanks for being on the program today. Good luck the rest of the season here.
Thank you.
All right, Brooke Shefchick, one of the freshman swimmers, is on the program next here on HBC's Cardinals Nest.
delicious. It's a tale full of sugar and spice.
So let's kick off this holiday party.
Woo! I nailed it.
But not everything's nice.
Oh, my timer didn't go off.
That's bad.
Find out who ends up happily ever after.
I think we have been blessed with a holiday miracle.
All new Holiday Baking Championship. Monday night at 9 on Food Network.
Isn't it the worst when your kids are trying to do homework and the webpage won't load? Or you're trying to buy airline tickets to your next vacation destination and the checkout keeps timing out? When you switch to HBC's fast and reliable broadband internet service, these frustrations will be a thing of the past. Not only is the service fast and reliable, but it's backed by a 30-day guarantee and free local 24/7 Wizards technical support. Visit hbci.com to learn more or call 888-474-9995.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest. Thanks for joining us here on HBC. And this week we're focusing on swimming and diving. And Brooke Shefchick is joining us on the program. And Brooke, I see you are a distance freestyle. That's the event that they have listed for you. I already like you because anything that involves distance that I don't have to do, I appreciate. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're from Stevens Point, Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about how you got started in swimming back there in Stevens Point and how you ended up coming to St. Mary's.
Well, taking it way back, actually, my best friend was a year younger than me, and so when she was in 3rd grade and I was in 4th grade, I saw her swimming and her having so much fun. So the next year I tried it out and I fell completely in love with it. And that just took me through. I was on the junior high team and the high school team. And then I was looking at St. Mary's a little bit, and then Amber talked to me and I was like, okay, that's where I'm going.
So after all of your success in swimming, did you ever go back and thank that friend?
Yes, I
back
did.
in 3rd grade?
Yeah.
Okay, good. What were some of the other things besides your head coach, Amber, and of course the swimming team at St. Mary's? What were some of the other aspects of St. Mary's that really drew you to the school?
Well, I graduated with a little over 500 kids. So I actually toured a larger school and I realized that I didn't like it at all. And then when I went to St. Mary's and I saw that the class sizes were about the size of my high school, that's what really drew me in, and being able to have a personal relationship with my professors.
Yeah, majoring in biology, no better place to do that.
Yeah,
than St.
exactly.
Mary's, right?
Yeah.
Good.
What's been the biggest adjustment in the pool from high school to college?
Well, truthfully, ranking on my team in high school, I wasn't that high up. But now on the St. Mary's team, I find myself more at the top of the pack in some events. So that's been kind of weird, trying to be the leader in some of those situations and prove myself there.
So how have you made that adjustment? Is it something that's just sort of happened based on your improvement there in the pool? Or are there some things out of the pool, just from a teammate standpoint, that you're trying to kind of step up and be a leader? Because you do have a lot of freshmen on the team, right?
Yeah. Well, I have to give a lot of credit to the distance coach, Allie. We have probably a conversation every single practice, and she just gives me advice, and she kind of just talks to me and makes me feel better. Like if I'm nervous for really anything, even a test, she'll just talk to me and stuff. So she's really helped a lot, and the teammates are super supportive. I feel like I've known them forever, so that's really nice.
Can you talk a little bit about your events? Because as Dean said, I mean, these are crazy distances. 1650 free, correct? 500,000.
Yeah.
How do you train? I mean, I know talking to Amber last year, because I asked her that question, you don't just get in the pool and just swim until you can't swim anymore.
No.
Talk a little bit about how you prepare and how you train for the events that you do.
Well, we do a lot of pace work, so depending on what distance we go, we have a set time based off of our goal time. And so during practice, we're trying to meet those times. We have a pace sheet that Allie made for us with different colors. So for each distance that we swim, we'll have, you can swim white, which should be like how you're comfortable. So just different paces, which I've never actually trained like this before. So I think that's helping a lot.
So talk about the first few events of the year. You've done quite well in all of them, and so did they meet your expectations, and where do you feel you can still make some improvements?
Well, they were awesome. It was so fun to swim them. I've actually only swam the 1,000 once before, and I've never swam the 1650, so this weekend should be pretty exciting. But I don't know, It was just a different experience because truthfully, I didn't have that great of a time in high school swimming, but having super supportive coaches and super supportive teammates have really helped a lot.
1,000 freestyle, how many laps is that?
40, so 40,
So how do you
25.
keep track? How do you count in your head?
Um,
I know you have a counter, but
Yeah.
do you actually count in your head?
Yeah, I do. If I don't count, I lose my pace, and you have to form a rhythm. That's the big thing, is just keeping a beat. Some people sing songs in their head. I actually don't think of anything, so.
Well, I would think mentally that's got to be a challenge, but yet one of the more important things in that long of a swim is to
Yeah.
just stay focused mentally, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I like to break it down into fractions, like, oh, I'm 1/4 of the way done, or I'm 5/8 of the way done. So I kind of do math when I swim.
You know, we talk a lot to a lot of our guests, especially the athletes. Time management is so important when you're a student athlete. Has that been a big adjustment for you coming from high school to college, where all of a sudden now you've got, you know, not only the schooling and the athletics, but a social life and all of that goes with that? Talk about how you manage everything to become, you know, to continue to be a good student as well.
Yeah, well, it is definitely weird not having my parents there being like, Brooke, let's do our homework now. But it's really just, I'm a big schedule person, so I plan out basically every single day, like when I'm gonna do stuff. And priorities have been a big thing, setting your priorities. At the beginning, I did struggle with it a little bit, but slowly it's getting better. And like I said, my professors help me a lot, and they give me lots of study tips and stuff like that.
And I would imagine, too, being in sport right now probably keeps you more focused
Oh,
than when you might be
definitely.
out of sports. So,
Yeah.
so how do you, what does sort of a day look like for you?
Well, it depends what day it is, because 3 days a week we have morning practice at 6 a.m. So I'm up by like 5:30, I go to practice, and then I have class all day. I try to sneak in a little nap after class between practice, but then once practice is done, I try to hit the books right away. And my roommate and I, we see a lot of people in our room a lot. We always have friends over, and we all like work on our homework together, so that's super nice.
If there's two people who will never judge you for taking a nap, it's us. Right?
Got that right. As a biology major, Brooke, what do you foresee? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, the dream job right now is to be a physical therapist and own my own practice. So.
Tell us about some of your teammates. Who on the team, and we can't get through them all, obviously, and we hate to leave anyone out, but who has really stood out to you as some really impressive swimmers and great teammates in the early going here?
Yeah, well, there's Abby Hauser. She is more of a stroker, and she has impressed all of us. She's crazy fast, which is awesome. Alexis Holiday, she's a goofball. I mean, I don't think there's been one practice where I've been upset the whole time, and she can throw out a comment or a joke, and she makes you so happy.
I have Alexis in class. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then there's just some of those more silent leaders who they go to practice and they work super hard, and they kind of motivate you. You're like, wow, Hannah's doing such a great job today. I really want to do what she's doing.
Now, I'm sure you have friends back in Stevens Point. What would be some advice you're giving to them if they're student athletes looking at going to college? Now that you've been in it, granted a short time, but nevertheless, what will be some advice you might give to some of your friends back at Stevens Point who are thinking about doing collegiate athletics?
Well, first of all, when they decide where they want to go, I would tell them not stress. It kind of all fell into place for me. So, I mean, once you know your right decision, you know it. In terms of balancing school and athletics, I would tell them to make a schedule right away, find a good study spot so when you need to be by yourself, and just have fun. Don't stress about anything too much, and college it's just super fun.
So one more question from me, and then Donnie has a few for you. But tell us about Amber. Now, I know she's looking over your shoulder right now, but
In controls practice.
right. But obviously, you know, she was one of the reasons you're here, right? And so, what is her style like? How does she sort of lead this team? How would you describe that?
Well, she's super supportive. If anyone has a problem, you can go and talk to her. She also only wants the best for you, and so she always is giving you advice or ways to improve your stroke, and not even your stroke, just if you need anyone to talk to, like a big sister, she's always there, so that's super nice.
All right, Donnie, it's all
Well, as you know, as everybody knows by now, I have these athletes fill out a questionnaire, so I glean a few
Oh, that's what it's
interesting
for.
topics. And one of the things, actually, my favorite answer that she gave, and it's her favorite vacation, and that was to Death Valley. And so what I want to hear is, what was your favorite part of Death Valley?
Definitely the people that I was with. My mom's best friend lives in the mountains outside of Vegas, so we went and visited with them and then went to Death Valley, and I just love being with them, and we don't get to see them all that often, so it was super nice to be with them. And the hotel that we stay at has a natural spring-fed pool, so you can open your eyes in the pool and it won't hurt, and it's like super hot all the time. So
Now, Donnie, you went to Death Valley
I did
this year,
past
right?
summer.
So
It
that's
was
why you
absolutely
wanted
awesome.
to pick her
Absolutely.
brain on that.
I loved
Okay.
Death
Yeah.
Valley National Park was phenomenal, and I loved it. So yeah, so it caught my eye right away. So
Yeah, I've
Brooke
actually been
Brooke
there
is on my
twice.
favorite list
Right,
right now
good,
because of that. Okay, so you got up this morning, you took a shower, I'm assuming. And one of the things that it says is you love to sing in the shower.
oh, great.
So what song did you sing in the shower this morning?
I actually didn't shower this morning. We had practice last night, so I showered then. But normally, just like any songs from the 2000s that have a catchy beat, and yeah.
All right.
One more?
Yeah,
We
we
got time,
got
for,
time
one
for
more?
one more.
Okay. No, people, I always ask people their favorite person to talk sports with. And yours surprised me, and that was Bob Uecker.
Yes.
Why Bob Uecker?
Well, I'm a huge Brewers fan, and I think Bob Uecker is just a really cool guy. He's been into sports for so long, and I also am a big fan of baseball. I love baseball, so that's definitely why I picked
Right,
Bob
so
Uecker.
growing up in Stevens Point, you probably listened to Bob all the time.
Oh,
right?
definitely. You can, as soon as his voice is on the radio, it's like, oh, there's
So,
Bob.
so how are you dealing with all the Cubs fans that are at
I-
St. Mary's?
I hate it. I hate it. It's awful. And they rub in that they won the World Series and that the Brewers haven't been doing too hot lately. But all I tell them is we're rebuilding, so there's always a bright future.
All right, sounds good. Packers fan too, then I'm
Oh,
assuming.
yeah.
Right? Okay, all right. All right, so Brooke Shefchick, thanks for being on the show
Thank you for
today.
having
Good
me.
luck the rest of the season here.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. Donnie and I will be back to talk about the rest of the St. Mary's sports coming up next here on HBC.
Is the best that Sam Bradford now is playing at an unbelievable level. This is football. This is how it is. Let's get right to it. Just roll.
Start your game day with Game Day Morning, football's first pregame show every Sunday, delivering Hall of Fame commentary, matchup analysis, and live reporting from every game all season long.
Imagine streaming your favorite 4K Ultra HD movie with no buffering or pixelation, even when your kids are gaming in the next room. Better yet, experience it with unlimited internet data usage and the fastest speeds around. Whether you're an occasional video snapper or a full season streamer, HBC can take you into the next generation of possibilities. Visit hbci.com to learn more or call 888-474-9995 to sign up for fast, limitless internet.
And we're back here to wrap up the Cardinals Nest here on HBC TV 25. Dean Beckman alongside Donnie Netto. And Donnie, some busy action over Thanksgiving break at St. Mary's as we had both the men's and women's hockey teams in action. The women's basketball team, the men's basketball team played over Thanksgiving break. So we'll try to break it down, and let's look first at men's hockey. A nice win on Saturday over Lake Forest, pulled off a bit of an upset there.
Yeah, it was a big split for them. They came out on Friday and really did not play very well. They lost 6-3, and you know, as Coach Moore had put it, it just was probably their least. They gave out the least amount of effort. It was not a good performance by them, and I think that I'm guessing they got a little tongue lashing after the game because they came back on Saturday and played extremely well and came away with a 4-2 win. Jared Johnson had a really big week for the Cardinals, having 2 goals on Friday night's 6-3 loss, and then a goal and an assist on Saturday. So a great performance from him. Really nice to see Jared as a senior really kind of step up a little bit and start producing offensively. A great kid and really one that you know, it's nice to see him really start to get to where, you know, where he's really contributing. So a good performance there. We got to give Al Rogers some publicity here. The winning goalie, his first start for the Cardinals, and he had 37 saves, so a nice performance by him. Coach Moore now has a nice stable of goaltenders with Aaron Davis and Nick Nast, and now Al Rogers proving that he can play as well. So it's a nice problem to have, deciding who to start. So it'll be interesting how that all unfolds for Coach Moore as he moves forward now.
Now, the women's hockey team took on a really good Eau Claire team, and Eau Claire came away with the win there.
Yeah, 3-1 win by Eau Claire. You know, I don't think you can fault the effort. I thought that St. Mary's played very well. I thought that Ashley Corcoran did a great job in goal. Bailey went with a goal, was nice to see. But Eau Claire, very talented team, very deep team, and I think that on that day they were just certainly the better team.
Now, as we tape this, women's basketball getting set to play on Wednesday night, but they also had some action over the Thanksgiving break, right?
Yeah, one of the problems that the women's team has right now is they've got to get off to a good start. They're 3-2 right now, and in the 2 games that they've lost, they've been behind a combined 19-0 to start the game, and you just can't do that. You've got to be able to you know, to come out gunning, and against Eau Claire last Saturday or last Sunday, they were down 10-0 before the first 2 minutes were over. It's very hard in this collegiate game to come back from a deficit like that. So when they win, they're doing a much better job of getting off to a good start, and so against Scholastica and then this weekend at Augsburg, it's going to be important that they get off to that good start.
Just a few seconds left, Donnie. Same thing really with men's basketball. Slow start against Concordia, Illinois.
Yeah, tough loss for them, a 10-point loss to Concordia, Illinois. I think that, as you said, you know, they've got to be able to get off to a quick start, and they've got to make their threes. That's kind of their forte this year, is the three-pointer, and as long as they're knocking them down, they're going to give a lot of teams a run for their money.
All right, that's going to do it here on this week's Cardinals Nest. Thanks for watching here on HBC TV 25.